I have a tale to tell you. It's a cautionary tale. I just got scammed out of $10,000. Well, a little bit more than $10,000 actually, and I'd just like to tell you that I'm a little embarrassed. But so here's the story. I have an acquaintance who I know through the theater from several years ago. She knows a bunch of people that I know. I don't know her very well. I know she's a singer and a dancer, and evidently she now does crypto trading. And so I her account is still having stuff posted to it, and all of these stories about how she made people money. And now that I think about it, actually, yeah. Anyway, so I messaged her on Facebook, and she messaged back, and I said I'd like to work with her around crypto trading because it seemed like she was doing a great job. And so we started corresponding on Signal, which is maybe a Signal, but all right, here's what I know. Some people won't use Craigslist because they think they're going to get axe murdered. And unfortunately, I believe that occurs sometimes to people. But I used Craigslist for years. And frankly, Craig Newman is from San Francisco, and I talked to him when Katrina happened, and he put up banners about how to help people from, who needed to be homed. And it was wonderful. It was wonderful. So I have a place in my heart for him, even though I'm pretty sure he's not really associated with Craigslist anymore. He did a wonderful thing. So, people are like, oh, somebody contacted you on WhatsApp. That's a scam. Be careful. But WhatsApp is actually widely used in other countries. Like in India, it's the thing that people use, and in Europe it's true, and here it's just not true for some reason. And so then when we begin to worry about our privacy, I guess, because everyone was getting deported and shut down and couldn't say anything anymore, or they'd be sued by the federal government, people switched to Signal, and I switched to Signal, but I don't really use it very much. And my associate, my friend that I knew, told me that we should talk on Signal, and I was like, great, no problem. And so we did, and this was just yesterday, by the way. And why am I so jolly? I'm not that jolly, but at least I got a story to tell. So anyway, I had some money in a Coinbase, Coinpurse, some cash and crypto, and it was around $10,000 in a few different cryptos, and I moved those over into an account and set up the parameters as a trade just like she told me to. And then in the morning I woke up and I had doubled my money, more than doubled my money, maybe made, anyway, more than doubled my money. And that was fantastic. I was enthralled, and I started to feel so much like, wow, it really is possible for people to experience incredible wealth if you change your mind. And here I need to say that I've been doing a lot of work on changing my mind. I'm doing a podcast, which is called I Heard It Through the Great Mind. And my first podcast talks about how the reason that I'm here is because I have been chronically depressed for years and years and years, maybe since I was a child. And I've taken quite a number of different antidepressants, and basically they have not helped me. They've helped me, but they have not eliminated or really even, I mean, they've helped me, but there's side effects and there's issues. And, I had been hearing about ketamine treatment for depression, and I really wanted to try that. And so last winter, actually almost a year ago, I went to my doctor, and I was like a mess. I was having a panic attack kind of, and that never really, I mean, it's not familiar with me. I mean, I'm not familiar with that. And so I was crying and shaking and saying, we've got to change my meds. And as it turns out, she hadn't prescribed my meds. And so I had to go see a psychiatrist. And so I went out to my car and I looked up somebody who did ketamine treatment. I'm on Social Security, or what do you call that? Medicare. And I found out that my Medicare will cover something called esketamine treatment, which is a nasal treatment that I've been doing actually since the spring. And I feel so different. It's just amazing. I feel so wonderful. And part of my really, really big problem with my depression is that it stands in the way of my motivation. And I also have this peculiarity that I don't really want to work for anybody, and I haven't for many, many years. I have not been a W-2 employee for whatever that is, whatever people who have straight gigs have. I haven't done that for years, decades. And so when I'm not motivated, that's a big issue, because then I can't eat after a while. And so I just feel wonderful. And it's such a new feeling. At any rate, let me get back to the story. But that's part of the reason I think I haven't decided to hang myself. But the other thing that I've been doing, and part of the reason that I walked right into this blindly, was I've been doing a lot of research and a lot of studying about changing your mind, essentially. And I know that when I was depressed, people would be like, people who have happy thoughts are not as depressed. And it's like, yeah, no shit. Sorry, but so I that seems rather obvious to me, but it's just not that easy when you're depressed to change your mind. It's just not. No matter what anybody tells you, you might think that your friends are being stubborn or, stupid or lazy or feeling sorry for themselves. But if they're depressed, it just doesn't work that way. You can't just get up and shake it off and walk out into the world and be fine. No. So I'm just so inspired now. And it's also, I'm going to say it's right coming up on October. So when the equinox was just the other day, and when the light diminishes in the sky, I also get seasonal affective disorder. And so I guess I think the real test about how this is working will be in, a few weeks when there's, when I'll be usually going into my deep dive. Anyway, I've been doing affirmations and listening to tapes at night when I sleep about abundance and breaking out of my old self into my new awareness of my new being. And it's really critical to already think like you're living your success. And I'm doing that. And so my plans are vast, and also I have ADHD. And so I have a tendency to do a whole lot of things at once, and I'm guilty about doing that right now. And I have a lot of different projects that I think are going to be very lucrative. So I'm already in that abundance mindset, and I thought, this is my time to contact Lhasa, who's my associate from the theater arts program at Mendocino College, and talk to her about doing this, crypto trading. And so everything worked out beautifully, except for the fact that I don't have any money in my account this morning. So, I'm going to get that back because I'm in the abundance outlook of my life. And I'm also going to say that if you find it in your heart to, contribute to my Patreon or buy me a coffee or any of those things that I don't have set up on my website yet or my YouTube yet, but I'm going to do it. If you would like to contribute to me or set up a GoFundMe for just a 70-year-old woman who doesn't know any better and got caught, it could happen to you, okay? It could happen to you. This looked really pretty good. And now in retrospect, I'm looking at it and I think, why didn't I just call Lhasa until the day when I had already done this trade? I don't know. But actually, one of the things is this morning I woke up and I looked at my account and I'd made, $11,000, $12,000. And I started to, I was like, this is incredible. I could, first of all, I made a pact to myself that I would donate, 10% of my earnings after I, put money into my business and stuff, that I would, happily give away 10% of my earnings. And then I thought, if I could make this kind of money in such a short period of time, I'd give more money to charity. I would send all my money to Gaza. I could fix up my house. I wouldn't have to drive to Mexico to get my teeth fixed, although stay with me because Monday's the day and today is Thursday. I just felt like the possibilities were too big to think about. And you might be saying right now, yeah, they are too big to think about. But, okay, call me whatever you want. Stupid, impetuous. I'm not, generally speaking, like that. And I almost got conned about a year and a half ago, by somebody who contacted me because I'm a realtor and he wanted to buy property in Sonoma County, which is where I work, and he was from India and he was from a very wealthy family, and I checked him out on Spokio and and he checked out, and so did Lhasa, and I checked her a bunch of different ways, and she lives in Willits, and and I called a couple people, my son knows her, I asked him, I called somebody else, and they were like, yeah, and I guess she's doing that thing, but I didn't know that, it seems kind of weird. And it is kind of weird, so, in retrospect. But, there were a lot of, her account has been around for years. She's got pictures of, theater performances and dance she's done. It looked so legit, and here's why. Because it is legit. And she said that her Facebook account got hacked, and I'm going to say it was weeks ago. It was probably, this is almost October, it probably was maybe looking at some of the dates on some of the pictures, the very beginning of August, I think. She's been trying to get her account taken down for weeks. She's locked out of her account now. Her sister has been trying to get her account taken down. It's set up in such a way now that you can't post to, I can't post to her. I can only post to her, Messenger account. And I got to tell you that I don't really use Facebook, and I haven't used it for over a decade. And I don't really want to. I feel like it's a time suck, and so I don't know very much at all. But she says when you call Meta or Facebook, you can't ever get through to a human being. It's all automated, and I have to tell you that I've got that same problem with Tesla, because when you try to get your car fixed or something, you just have to like put it into your program on your phone. And anyway, it's annoying to me, and I guess it's not annoying to like 20-year-olds, but it's annoying to me. I think there's a class action lawsuit waiting to be had. As it turns out, I asked my dream genie, whatever it is. All right, forgive me. I don't know the names. It starts with a G, Gemini. And there is a class action lawsuit that's forming right now in Oakland, and I live in Mendocino County. And so I called them, and strangely, somebody in Washington, D.C. actually answered the phone. Poor thing. Anyway, she was wonderful. And I'm going to talk to somebody tomorrow. Here's my thing. This is what I want to tell everybody. If you know somebody who's gotten scammed and lost money, or even not lost money. So here's what I know. Here's what I understand. Meta has been sued a couple of times successfully. One was for $750 million, but I'm telling you, I lost $10,000. And, if they're going to spread that out among 3 billion people or something, I need more money than that. So that's for some information breach, like where somebody hacked into the site and got their information somehow because it's somebody hacked it and it wasn't properly set up so it could avoid that. So that's that, and people have prevailed in that. But this is a little bit different. This has to do with their negligence in taking down people's sites. And the way I understand this is that there are hundreds and thousands maybe of people that this has happened to, and they're not seeing results, and they're very disgruntled, and a lot of people have made complaints, and they go sort of, on deaf ears. So that's one thing, being a user of the platform where the platform will not communicate with you about your needs and desires and how you're disgruntled because somebody hacked into your site and is ruining your reputation, and that you can't get it down and nobody's doing anything over there. So that's one form of injury, right? But I have a totally different form of injury, which is that I was defrauded because those guys neglected for weeks and months even to take down a site that somebody had hacked where somebody was running a scam. And here's what I have to say to you. If you know anybody who's in that same situation, I'm trying to collect names, and I haven't talked to the attorneys yet in Oakland, and so I'm not sure where it stands, but it hasn't been put into the courts yet. They're still pulling it together. So there's time to get on that, and this is kind of like, in a word, bullshit, because you know that Mark Zuckerberg and whoever else is out there running Meta should be paying better attention. And I've got to tell you, I've seen that guy in a number of courtroom situations now, talking before the Senate or whoever he talks to. And he's always like, gee, I'm sorry. I don't really understand that was happening. It's like, you can't do that forever, okay? So that's me, and I'm rambling on those guys, and I'm pretty upset that they can't be more responsible, because I'd like to think that most of us who are doing channels, who are content creators, are being reasonably responsible. And there are checks put in place about how you can say things or not say other things, and I think that's good, frankly, but I'm monitoring myself, and here's this gigantic corporation who's just like letting people. I'm 70, okay? So I've also got this, you know what? This is elder abuse. Somebody defrauded me based on the fact that Meta, Facebook, refused to take down sites or a site, and I know there's dozens and hundreds and thousands more. And if they didn't refuse, they were too inept to make it happen. This should not take months to do. That's me. That's my story. I am leaving tomorrow. I'm going to drive down to Grover Beach. I'm going to spend the night there and maybe Friday. And then I'm going to drive to Los Algodones, Mexico, have my teeth fixed, drive to Houston, go to a conference for my funding group where I fund money, I lend money, I work with funders who lend money to small businesses and people who do fix and flips and buy stuff at auction and foreclosures and stuff like that. If you're interested in that, there is also a link at the end of this mail. You know what I mean. This video, it's like 9 or 10 o'clock at night here, and it's 90 degrees, and it's humid as hell, and that's not really my excuse, but I was just defrauded out of a whole bunch of money, so bear with me. I love you guys. Love you live. See you later.